Okay, so today I've got the Honda 404 back on the bench. I've had two problems recently, and the last time I went out I saw that there was a leak underneath the bike after I'd been out for quite a long ride, and it seemed to be coming out of the bottom of the sump. Now, I did have actually some work done on the sump because the last time I did an oil change, what happened unfortunately was I stripped the sump plug, which is quite common on the aluminium castings, and if I'd used a torque wrench I'd have really damaged it. But anyway, that was engineered and put back together. But as I say, I've got this quite significant oil leak from this sump. So what I'm thinking probably happened was that the gasket has failed. So to repair that, first of all, I decided to drop all the oil out, and the best way to get the oil out is to heat the engine up first, and then it goes a bit thinner and it comes out better. But I did notice on the last ride that I was having a problem also with getting the bike to run freely above about 4,500 revs. Now that is usually down to the carburetors, or secondly the advance and retard unit, where as it speeds up on the end of the shaft, the advance and retard doesn't throw open, so that is going to be checked as well. So in the process of sorting out this engine, getting it hot and starting the engine, I found a load of fuel flowing out of the carburetors onto the floor or onto the bench, and I suspected at the time that it was probably a float that had jammed, which is quite common if they've been stood for a long time, until I realised that this piece of piping, which is the fuel line, is so horribly hardened and it's just fractured, and it was spewing out the end. Now that means I've got to replace the pipe before I can heat the engine back up again by getting the fuel in. Now I'm told that you can actually get the fuel pipe off. Not sure if you can see it here or even here, but the fuel pipe is a real pig to get on and off. It's actually snapped just above where it goes onto the brass inlet. So what I'm going to do is try and get that off. That's my first thing. It may mean that the carburetors have got to come off, and that is a pain because it means you have to remove this airbox, and if you're unlucky you've got to go onto the other side of the bike, which I'll just nip round and show you. This battery box has to be removed as well, and that is a real pig. First thing I'm going to do is get this pipe off and see if I can get it back on again with long nose pliers. They say you can do it if you've got a very small hand. Well, I haven't got a very small hand. I don't know if this is going to get in there. It might do. No. And then if I can't, it means taking the carburetors off. I don't want to have to do that if I can help it. So I'll get on with that. One thing I didn't mean to mention was the pipe I actually used when I rebuilt the bike was brand new, and it was supposed to be OEM type spec, but to be honest, it's just brittle and hard, and that's only after 3 years. Oh look, you can see it's just split there again. Unbelievable. So I don't know what's going on there, but I'm going to have a word with David Silver's bears, because I replaced all these. It's not good. So I've noticed where that pipe does go on, apart from the fact it doesn't want to come off easily, I managed to get the clip off. There are two other pipes here that go into the carburetor, and to be honest, these two pipes here, if they're of the same material, they're going to crack as well. So it looks like I'm going to have to take the carburetors off anyway. So first thing to do is to unclip this airbox here, loosen that off. Once you've undone that clip, you're able to get inside and get this unit out and pulls out that way. Gives you a little bit of space to get this stupid airbox here backwards. So it's just a case of undoing all these clips here. This is the problem, this airbox. It is a real pig to get on, because you can get the outer ones on, but these inner ones on the rubbers, they're really hard to get lined up and get back on again. And I nearly threw the bike in the canal last time I tried it. But anyways, that's what I'm going to have to do. So this airbox is the next thing to come off. And if I can't get enough wiggle room with pulling that back to get the carburetors off, it does mean loosening the battery box and pulling this back a little bit. I've seen that done as well. So I suppose I've got no other option but to do that. So the first thing I've got to do is to take off these two throttle cables, and that allows that carburetor to come free once it's undone. So I'll crack on with that. Okay, so I've loosened that one, and that just drops out like that, and the same with the top one once I've loosened that off. These locking nuts are actually held in to a little recess, as you can see on that top one there. So that one's free as well, and it just comes out its little hole just there. So that's them two out the way, so I can now get on with undoing all these clips and getting this airbox out. When I built the bike, I replaced all these with Allen type screw heads rather than screwdrivers. It's just so much easier to take off when you need to. So I've wriggled this airbox off both sides. I'm hoping now there might just be enough room to get that carburetor out, or those carburetors out. Let's see. Now this bit here, this like an oval aluminium tunnel that goes all the way through forward there into that airbox, so that needs to withdraw this way. Now you can do it with pulling and tugging on this lip here, so it's part way out. I just thought I'd show you that. What I'm going to do is get me big long nose pliers, these are huge by the way, down this side, and then I'll be able to prise that out just by pulling it back that way. And that's the part that goes in, and I've just pulled out from that rubber seal there. Now that airbox is clear. Hey up. So with that extra bit of wiggle room, I've managed to get that carburetor off this side, or this bank of carburetors, and hopefully I'll be able to do the same around the other side. And with a bit of luck, I might be able to get these out without having to remove the battery box. So let's have a go. Success. So that carburetor is now off, and maybe with a bit of luck there might be just enough room to get them pipes back on again. Let me just get this out of the way first. Oh my goodness, I've actually found a way to get them out. Now if they come out, presumably they can go back in again the same way. That's excellent. Well, look at that everybody. They're out. The real test will be if they go back in again, but certainly I can get at these here. And that second problem I had, if it does turn out to be carburetors and not the advance and retard unit, which is inside here, which I can have a look at once I've done the bottom end and got that sealed back up again, I'll probably strip these carburetors down again. This is a job I didn't do. It's one of the very few jobs I actually outsourced. I don't really know these multiple carbs. I'm used to using single carbs on old British bikes, but since I did the Yamaha video that I showed you earlier on, stripping the carbs, I've got to do quite a few modern Japanese carburetors which work in a slightly different way, that they don't pull from the top, but they work in the same way in principle. So everything on these carburetors can be done from the bottom, so I might actually even do a full rebuild kit on these if I struggle once I've got this all sorted. But anyway, for now I can get at those cables, which is great news. Not cables, these pipes. So I'll replace all these horrible worn out pipes with some new stuff, and I'll come back to you once that's all in place.